Is brothers and sisters and friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Five or 6 years ago, right here in Penang, we launched my book, Jerusalem in the Quran. I don't know how many of you were present on that day. But perhaps because of the blessings of Penang, this book became my first bestseller. And we have probably printed about 50,000 copies already, and it's been translated and published in several languages. Tonight, once again, I'm blessed to be with you in Penang, but to launch not one, but 3 new books that I've been working on for many years now. This one took 10 years to write. Surah Al-Kahf and the Modern Age. This surah of the Quran, the surah of the cave, more than any other surah of the Quran or any other chapter of the Quran, this is the one which explains the modern age, best of all. And in this book I have conducted an analysis and an interpretation of the surah, Surah Al-Kahf and the modern age. I started 10 years ago, but I had to interrupt the writing of this book because this subject became more important. And after having written this book, I then went back to this one. And so tonight, for the first time, this book is launched and goes on sale. But I thought that there should be a companion volume to this one, in which I'll take the whole of Surah Al-Kahf and give its translation and its explanatory translation, and then a modern commentary, and thus emerge this book, the tafsir, or the commentary of the whole surah, Surah Al-Kahf. But we have a third, this is also launched tonight for the first time, but we have a third book, and this is Signs of the Last Day in the Modern Age. And I predict that this is the one you'll enjoy the most. Why? Because when I left you in 2003 and went back home to Trinidad to enjoy my homeland for a little while, I found that there was a monstrous attack on Islam in the media, television. They were having a ball of a time attacking Islam. Television, the radio, and newspapers. And I was not the kind of person who would just sit down and let them have a field day. But I knew that if I wrote letters to the editor, now and then one of my letters would be published, and they'd probably cut it and edit it. I also knew that if I wrote essays and sent them to the newspapers, since they're written from my style, they won't publish them. So what I did was, I collected money, and I bought newspaper space, full pages. And they couldn't stop me, because that's the freedom that I had. And I published full pages, sometimes 2 pages, sometimes 3 full pages of the newspaper, and responded with a pen that, alhamdulillah, earned respect. That this was not just some fly-by-night writing, this was someone who was addressing subjects seriously. And I gave an interpretation of current events in the context of Signs of the Last Day, projecting the Islamic position. For example, most people did not know that the religion of Islam has as one of its beliefs belief in the return of Jesus, the son of Mary. Allah's blessings be upon them both. Most people did not know that. And then I collected all of those essays, and there were 32 of them here. And these essays have been published, so the style of writing here is different. These are written for newspapers. And we published them under the title, Signs of the Last Day in the Modern Age. And it is my honor, my pleasure, my happiness that these 3 books should be launched tonight in Penang. I don't know whether Kuala Lumpur is getting jealous. Our topic is entitled Islam and the End of History. And let us begin by making a distinction between the end of history and the end of the world. The end of the world is something that we all know about. The Quran speaks, for example, and it says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها. When that time comes when the earth will be shaken with a mighty shaking. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. And the earth will pitch out of its bosom all its burdens, people who are buried there, and the earth doesn't particularly like them. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. And on that day, people are going to ask, hey, what's happened to the earth today? يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. On that day, the earth will speak. And all that was not recorded in history will now come out. And all that was falsified, distorted versions of history will now be exposed. بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا. The earth will speak on that day. Because Allah, its Lord, will inspire it with the capacity to speak. And it continues to the end of the surah. That is the end of the world. On that day, يَوْمَ تُبَدِّلُ الْأَرْضَ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ. It will not be the destruction of the earth and the destruction of the, for want of a better word, the heavens above, but that's not correct, the heavens above. Rather, says the Quran, on that day there will be a transformation. And creation will be transformed. This one, for example, is a world of space and time. Our world of space and our world of time. And it will be transformed into something different. غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ. That is the end of the world. And our subject tonight is not connected with the end of the world. No, that is not our subject. When the end of the world will come, not even Brother Kamaruddin knows when. Nobody knows. Only Allah. That knowledge resides with Him. Only Him. Our subject is different. We're dealing with the end of history, not the end of the world. What is the end of history? For those who believe that there is something called truth, absolute truth, not a conception that truth that changes every time the United States appoints a new president. No. Absolute truth is that which never changes. For those who believe in a conception of absolute truth, there is a belief in an end of history,